Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Ali and in today's video we are going through 5 things I hate about Brahmas.
Stop it. Get some help.
Now, I know what you're thinking, Ali, what the hell are you talking about? You've got loads of Brahmas, and yes, I do love Brahmas, but there are also some things that I don't like about them. I will be doing a follow-up video of all the things I love about Brahmas, but these are some of the things that I dislike. Okay, so the first thing is how susceptible they are to mites, which just means that you have to be extra careful with their husbandry. But even with the best husbandry in the world, you can still end up with mites, which is true of any chicken, but even more so with Brahmas. Luckily, I've only had an issue of mites once or twice since owning Brahmas, and that was a few years back. When we had a particularly hot summer, the mites seemed to get out of control no matter what I did. It's not something that I love, the fact that they are just more susceptible to mites and lice. Okay, so this one affects all poultry, not just my Brahmas, but it is one that I absolutely do hate, and that is the idea that they are in some way disposable and that they are a bit of a commodity. And I'm not stupid, I do know that poultry are farm animals and they are farmed for their eggs and their meat, and I am not a vegetarian, so it might seem a little bit hypocritical. I really can't stand that. Farming attitude seems to have trickled down to everyday people. Now, I'll give you an example. I've often spoken to my work colleagues about the fact that I have pet chickens and ducks, and the other day a lady asked me what I do with my ducks and chickens when they stop laying or when they get too old, and she suggested the idea that I should slaughter them. And I was a little bit taken back, to be honest with you, because I've always said that they are my pet chickens and ducks, and yet the idea that I could just slaughter them seemed perfectly normal to them, and it came across to me as a bit like they don't even see them as animals, they just see them as a means to an end. And it really kind of like made me sad, because I think you wouldn't say that about a dog or a cat or anything else really for that matter, but you're okay with suggesting that I slaughter my pets. So I understand they are farming animals, but at the same time, when you're talking about your pets, I think it's highly weird that people think, okay, because they've stopped laying eggs for you, you should just kill them. It seems so bizarre to me, but it is a common attitude that people have. Okay, so the next thing I hate about Brahmas, and this isn't about Brahmas at all, it's about people's misconceptions of Brahmas and chickens in general, and that is the idea that they are dumb animals, and this could not be further from the truth. They're actually extremely smart birds. They can actually identify up to 100 different chickens within their flock. They can recognise human faces, and studies have proven that they can actually count. Yes, they can count. And this plays into my previous point. It's easier for people to consider chickens as dumb because it makes it easier for them to reconcile with the fact that these are highly mistreated birds often. Now, this one is actually about Brahma care, and this is one that I dislike, and that is the fact that they eat so much more than my other breeds of chicken. Now, it's understandable, they are much larger than your average chicken, but yeah, they do eat a great deal more and cost me more money. But I love them regardless, but that is something that I dislike about them, but I understand they need to eat. Okay, so the final thing I hate about Brahmas, and this is all poultry as well, this is one of the things that I absolutely hate the most about owning poultry, and actually made me question whether I wanted to actually keep poultry in the future a few years back. And that is, in the UK, as the same across the rest of Europe, during the winter time we have an influx of bird flu outbreaks, and in the UK the government has taken steps to try and protect domesticated flocks, and one of the laws they have put in place is the fact that you have to house your poultry indoors in barns or sheds, or undercover or in netted penned areas, so they can be completely separated from wild birds. Now, this means that my chickens and ducks can't free range in the winter time. It's one of the things that makes me consider not keeping chickens and ducks, because for 6 months of the year I can't have them out and give them the best life they need. They have a much more limited space in the winter time, which I absolutely hate. I understand why the government does it, and I understand totally why it's needed. It is to protect our bird. For example, the other day there was a bird flu outbreak just a few miles away from where I am, and it's terrifying me because I don't want my chickens and ducks to get bird flu, because if just one of my chickens or ducks gets bird flu, the government will actually cull my entire flock, so all my pets will be dead if just one of my chickens or ducks gets bird flu. This is why it freaks me out so much that there is an outbreak so close to me at the moment. So that is one of the things that I really do hate about owning Brahmas, is during the winter time, for about 6 months a year, I have to have them kept in a much smaller area and they can't free range as they normally would. I understand that the laws are there to protect birds and to protect the spread of bird flu. It's a little bit like lockdown with COVID, but for birds. It's often referred to as flockdown, but it's literally, that's what it is. And we know what our mental health was like during lockdown, don't we? It wasn't great. So I don't expect that it's much better for chickens and ducks. But yeah, it's one of those things you just have to accept. If you own poultry and you live in the UK, you're going to have this every year. They will tell you to put your chickens and ducks in penned areas that are covered over. And if you don't comply with the law, you can actually receive a pretty hefty fine, and also it is punishable by imprisonment. So yeah, you've got to be careful that you're not breaking the law. And yeah, it's not the best. Those are my 5 things I absolutely hate about Brahmas. I will be doing one on things I love about Brahmas, because there are so many. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you in another one soon. Goodbye for now.